So what is the Lions' plans with Za'Darius Smith and vice versa?
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, vacation is over. We are back, everybody. Welcome in a fresh set of episodes this week of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Matt Derry with you, as always. Great to be back on a Tuesday, June 17th, and a Wednesday, June 18th. Thank you for making us your first listen, everybody. And, of course, finding us and checking us out wherever you get your podcasts, and that includes on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. We got sun shining. It is warm. It is sunny. It is hot. It is beautiful. And let's talk some Detroit Lions football. A lot to get into today. I was gone last week. We had some episodes for you. I know we're back now Tuesday through Friday next week, full 5 days. So all your Lions fix, getting you ready for training camp next month. We're going to talk about the training camp schedule, which has been released by the Lions today. We'll go over that. We got wide receiver rankings from Pro Football Focus. I'm a little bit surprised. They have the Lions highly ranked, which is good. The Lions are of a top 10 receiving core. I didn't think they'd be as highly ranked as they are by PFF. We'll go over that. We got a call of the day on our SpeakPipe voicemail system. One of our everydayers checked in. We'll play that for you. If you want to be our call of the day, you know what to do. Go to www.speakpipe.com/Derry podcast page. Leave a voicemail or whatever you want to say, and you too might be our call of the day. Locked On Lions today brought to you by our friends at the Gametime app. Looking for tickets? Go to Gametime, download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Thanks to our everydayers that are out there that watch or listen to the podcast daily. Appreciate a lot of you. Man, so much to get into and talk about. I missed... last week, like I said, we had some shows last week, yes, but toward the end of last week, Za'Darius Smith and Cash Doll, his Detroit-based rapper girlfriend, they were at the BET Awards. And if you're Za'Darius Smith's agent, and for those of you that don't know, Za'Darius Smith, of course, was traded to the Lions last year at the trade deadline. Lions cut him because they weren't paying him $11 million this year on the second year of his contract. And he's still a free agent, and he's still out there. If you're the agent for Za'Darius Smith, though, you're probably like, hey, bud, no more interviews. Because when Za'Darius Smith was on the red carpet at the BET Awards and ran into Tyler Dragon, a reporter from USA Today, and was asked about his future in Detroit, and, was asked, hey, where do you want to play? And Smith said at the BET Awards, we both know where I want to be. Hopefully I can get back to Detroit because the coaching staff and everybody in the front office are great. When I'm there, I feel like a leader, and I can influence the young guys and do great things. Hopefully I can get back to where I want to be in Detroit. That, according to, of course, the 32-year-old edge rusher. Lions looking for edges. Fans want edge rushers for the Lions. Media want edge rushers for the Lions. And if you're Za'Darius Smith's agent, you're probably like, hey, bud, stop giving interviews and saying where you want to go because you're probably bringing the price down. You're not giving us much leverage here. Again, teams will go through mini camps. They're going to have mandatory mini camps. The Lions are not. The Lions are shut down for really the next month. All right? Because they've got to start training camp early, and we will discuss that momentarily because they're playing in the Hall of Fame game. But regardless of all of this, Za'Darius Smith wants to be in Detroit. All right. And everybody has talked about it. The edge rusher spot opposite of Aiden Hutchinson is, I'm not going to say it's a black hole, but it's not a position of strength. It is not something that many people feel like is a confident spot. Last year when Smith came over to the Lions in the 8 games that he played in Detroit, he had 12 tackles, 4 sacks, and 40 pressures. He was fine. I would have liked to have seen more. I know the track record of the player, whether it was in Green Bay, whether it was in Minnesota, whether it was in Cleveland. But by the end of the year, you look at the PFF grades, the 3 highest graded pass rushers on the Lions were Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil, and Za'Darius Smith. Hutch is back. We know McNeil is going to take some time. And if you can add a Za'Darius Smith on likely a 1-year deal and not have to pay him, like I said, his deal that he had signed in Cleveland, he was going to be making $11 million this year, and the Lions would have had a massive cap hit if they would have kept him. They freed up money to release him. He is still a free agent, right? He's 32, still has some, tread on the tires. He's around Detroit a lot because his girlfriend is from here and is here. He was spotted at Pistons games a ton during the winter time. And as he said to this Tyler Dragon from USA Today, I'm going into year 11, quote, as a veteran, it's the only thing that I'm missing is a championship. I did the sacks, All-Pro, Pro Bowl. So it's really just me getting a ring now and winning a championship. End quote. So that is what Za'Darius Smith said at the BET Awards. There you have it. Now, as far as what this means for the Lions and for general manager Brad Holmes, fast forward to the end of last week, where the Lions GM joined the Green Light podcast with Chris Long. It was a very good interview. Check it out. Chris did a good job with Brad, and Brad talked about, the edge rusher spot a little bit. All right. And the biggest thing that Holmes said, without specifically talking about Za'Darius Smith, was he said he's happy with his defensive ends. First and foremost, he said Aiden looks great. He's been out there in OTAs, didn't really fully expect anything else. Never truly know because you don't have a crystal ball. But just knowing how that guy's wired and how he attacks things and how in tune he is with his body, it did not surprise me. Aiden is out there, looks explosive. He's changing direction. I mean, he looks really good, man. So the Hutch question's out of the way. But one thing that Holmes said on the Green Light podcast, was that he talked about 3 guys in that edge room that he was super excited about. Number 1 was Marcus Davenport. All right. He said he played really good football for us before he got hurt. The other one was Al-Qadin Muhammad. Plays hard, plays physical, he'll set edges. So Brad likes him. And the last one he brought up was Ahmed Hassanin, the 6th round pick from Boise State. But they like him a lot. And as Brad said, he plays with his hair on fire as well. So Holmes propped up Davenport, Muhammad, and Hassanin. And I think Brad thinks as long as he gets a good long look at those guys during training camp, it's not a lock that Brad wants to bring in another body at that spot if he thinks those guys can do the job. I mean, who's better, Za'Darius Smith or Al-Qadin Muhammad? Sorry, I'll take Za'Darius Smith. Who's better, Z Smith or Hassanin? We don't really know, but he was a 6th round pick for a reason. There's a reason he was taken on the 3rd day of the draft. A lot of teams passed him. Now, there have been some good 6th round picks. There's been undrafted free agents that have made it. Tom Brady was a 5th round pick. I know all about that. But Brad Holmes also wanted to bring up how important the interior of the defensive line is and how everybody's talking about edges, but if you don't have a strong interior defensive line, you don't have a chance. As Brad said on that podcast, quote, as well as anybody, if you're not good in the middle, I don't care what you have on the edges, at corner, at safety. If you're not strong in the middle, it's hard, man. It's a hard life. He brought up Tyleik Williams. He brought up DJ Reader. He brought up Levi Onwuzurike. He said Aleem McNeil when they get him back, but they were able to sign Roy Lopez in free agency. Quote from Brad, we really feel good about the middle because if that's not right, there's some long days on defense. All right. Holmes did not address the situation in regards to Za'Darius Smith in the interview. I just mentioned a lot of players that Brad Holmes mentioned. I gave you like 8 names of other guys. You know who Brad Holmes didn't bring up? Josh Paschal. This is a big, big year for him. He's a free agent at the end of this year. Time to put up or shut up. Can Josh Paschal play on the edge and get to the quarterback and be disruptive? Or is he more of an interior guy? Why wasn't he brought up? Now, again, Mekhi Wingo's name wasn't brought up either. And they've got other guys, Broderick Martin, too. He wasn't going to name the entire defensive line. But for a guy that's played a lot, and not getting mentioned, Josh Pascal. Interesting. Keep your eye on that. All right, coming up next, Lions today announced training camp and when the fans can go see the team perform down at 222 Rodwood Drive there at the Meyer Performance Center. I like training camp sponsored by Rocket. Everything's sponsored. But we will tell you about that coming up next right here. It is a Tuesday edition of Locked on Lions. And as we told you earlier, Locked on Lions are brought to you by our friends at the Gametime app. Nothing like the NBA Finals going on right now. The intensity, the buzzer beaters, the fans losing their minds. It's the kind of atmosphere you must experience live. And this year's matchup, it's already delivering. We're going 6 games with the Pacers and the Thunder. If you want in, drive down to Indy and go to the game tomorrow night. Or, Thursday night. Gametime makes it fast and easy to get seats, even for the biggest playoff games. Prices on the app actually drop closer to tip-off, and with killer last-minute deals, panoramic seat views, and no surprise fees, Gametime is a total game changer, all right? I was just on the app the other day. Those zone deals were offering 10% off exclusive zone deals for FIFA Club World Cup matchups, too, if you're a soccer fan. I love that I can see my exact view. I love the view from your seat before I buy. No surprises, no matter what venue I'm going to. And Gametime makes scoring Lions tickets just as easy. You'll find great seats for as low as $100 thanks to exclusive discounts. All right. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Matt Derry back with you. It is a Tuesday edition of Locked on Lions right here on the Locked on Podcast Network. Our buddy Nate Burleson was in town last week promoting Lion Blood. He's coming on the show. It's going to be sometime this week or early next week. Bear with us. We're going to get Nate, the former Detroit Lion wide receiver, now, of course, CBS NFL analyst and big media superstar. We're going to get him on hopefully by the end of this week, or if not early next week, working with his people right now. But as I said, I was out of town last week. Could not go see him because he was in town. He's doing this drink, this alcoholic beverage with Lion Blood and Valentine Distillery and stuff, which is great, by the way, in Ferndale or Berkeley. No, Ferndale. But we're going to hopefully get Nate on soon this week, possibly, or early next week. All right, Lions announced it today. 2025 training camp brought to you by Rocket is going to be open to the public, and the Lions have announced a total of 10 practices that fans can attend. 6 of those are open to all the fans, 3 season ticket holders, and then there's 1 that's going to be an invitation-only Lions Community Day. Now, again, the full schedule with when they're actually opening up camp has not been announced yet, but the first practice that fans can go to is going to be Saturday, July 26th. That's for season ticket holders only at 8:30 a.m. All right. Then you've got 8:30 practices open to the public on July 28th, July 29th, August 3rd. Season ticket holders on Monday, August 4th, Wednesday, August 6th. That's at 8:30. The season ticket holder event, by the way, on Monday, August 4th is at 6 p.m. Monday, August 11th is invitation only. And then the ones that maybe you really want to go to are the joint practice ones. That's to me, that's the one to go to. Wednesday, August 13th, Dolphins, 10:30 a.m., season ticket holders only. But the next day, Thursday, August 14th, Dolphins, 10:30 a.m., open to the public. And Thursday, August 21st, joint practice with the Texans, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. All right. Tickets are free. Are these free? But you got to have a ticket to enter. So go online to DetroitLions.com on Tuesday, July 15th at 10 a.m. to get your tickets. Very, very cool. The Lions are making 10 practices available to the public. And again, joint practices with the Dolphins and Texans are going to be cool. So that would be those would be the ones that I would want to go to, because that's really it's the closest thing to like a game situation. So Lions announced that. I do believe, though, if I had to guess, is that they're going to be opening up training camp a little bit earlier than the 26th, because as we know, on Thursday the 31st, the Lions are playing an actual exhibition game, the Hall of Fame game against the Chargers in Canton, Ohio. None of the regulars are going to play. None. So, but the Lions are going to be starting earlier than everybody else. All right. So, wide receiver rankings came out from Pro Football Focus this week. Like I said before, I know that the Lions have a good receiving core. You know that the Lions have a good receiving core. We're talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams, both crack in the top, was it 32 when PFF came out with their wide receiver rankings a couple weeks ago. Today, Trevor Sikkema, our buddy from PFF, penned the article, 2025 NFL receiving core rankings. Eagles are number one. Not a surprise when you talk about, and they include tight ends as a part of this receiving core. They include tight ends as well. So the Eagles have, of course, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Jahan Dotson. Eagles come in at number one. At number two, it's Tampa Bay. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, Egbuka, Jalen McMillan, Bucky Irving coming out of the backfield. Pretty good group of pass catchers in Tampa. Number three, Cincinnati, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Mike Gesicki, the tight end. No shocker there. Number four, your Honolulu Blue and Silver Warriors, the Detroit Lions. Trevor writes, quote, the Lions recorded the highest team PFF receiving grade in the league last season, 89.0. 5 Detroit players recorded marks of 74.0 or higher. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, and David Montgomery. All receiving grades, of course. And St. Brown and Montgomery earned elite 90.0 plus PFF receiving grades. The Lions receiving core is diverse and features high ceiling players at every position. All right. And that's not even mentioning Tim Patrick or Khalif Raymond, or, of course, the new legend in town, Isaac Tesla. So there you go. Lions come in at number 4. I know, and I knew when this came out, I'm like, all right, Lions have got to be in the top 10. They have to be. Amon-Ra St. Brown is an elite wide receiver, a top 4 receiver in the league. Jamison Williams is just scratching the surface in terms of his abilities. Also throw in the way that the wide receivers block in the run game. Then you toss in Sam Laporta. Congratulations, by the way, to Sam Laporta. Just got married. I saw some photos online. Very cool. And I believe Brock Wright is engaged as well to Carly Johnston. Didn't she used to do the arena? She was the in-arena PA and stuff and host for the Red Wings. Anyway, but I knew the Lions were going to be in the top 10. I didn't think they'd crack the top 5, but here they are. So you got Philly, Tampa, Cincy, Detroit. San Francisco comes in at number 5 because of Kittle, Pearsall, Jennings, McCaffrey out of the backfield. I don't know if I would put San Francisco ahead of you put them ahead of Tyreek and Jalen Waddle with the Dolphins, or even Minnesota's got a really good receiving core. Minnesota came in at 6, Miami at 7, Rams at 8, Bears at 9. Oh, offseason champs, and Houston at 10. Lowest graded receiving core was the Cleveland Browns. Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku, and no one else. So there you go. That's from Trevor Sikkema. Lions coming in with the 4th best receiving core in the NFL. I'm very, very excited to see how this passing game is going to be without Ben Johnson, because I know we know how good Jared Goff is. We know how good Jared Goff is when he's protected. We saw what Ben Johnson was able to do with this offense with trick plays. But let me tell you something. When they went basic, the Lions, when they went play action and just 3rd and 6 and you needed 6 yards, you could get it. All right. You knew that Jared Goff with time was able to hit Amon-Ra St. Brown on certain routes, running backs on wheel routes, tight ends cross in the middle, just basic stuff too. The Lions pitch and catch to get first down, something the Lions do very well. And so I know St. Brown wants to win desperately and works so hard. And Jameson Williams has something to prove this year, because if he just takes the top off the defense and has a monster year, he's going to have to make the Lions make a pretty big decision on his future. So I am excited about that. I love seeing that the Lions get that kind of ranking, a top 4 ranking in terms of wide receiver groups from our friends at Pro Football Focus. All right, we've not done this in quite some time. It is time again to get a call of the day in the mix. We'll do that coming up next. All right, folks, don't forget the Tigers postcast tonight, Tigers and Pirates down at Comerica Park. After the game, Jake Riepma will have the postcast on Locked On Sports Detroit. You can find that on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Jake does a great job. Does shows after Tiger games, Red Wings, Pistons, and Lions. He's on live after Lions games. Then you got my show after that, because I usually tape after games. So check out Jake Riepma at Locked On Sports Detroit, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, with the Tigers postcast after tonight's tilt with the Buccos. All right, it has been a while, folks. You know this, our everydayers, our regulars checking in from time to time to be our call of the day. And if you want to be our call of the day, it is simple. You just go to www.speakpipe.com/Derry, my last name, DERY podcast page. And you too can leave us a voicemail and be our call of the day. One of our everydayers, somebody near and dear, checking in with us today as our call of the day with an interesting question. Check it out.
Hey, Matt. This is Michelle Choice, one of your everydayers. Been listening for a while. First time with Speed Pipe. This is pretty exciting. Okay, so I have to share. Obviously, I know that you've been on vacation, and my husband, who is also an everydayer, has desperately been missing his Locked On Lions content. So in an effort to celebrate you coming back, I'd love to ask for anyone else as well, like when you're looking for Lions content or a Detroit related podcast about sports teams, what are your go-tos? So in the event that we are lacking some Locked On Lions, we've got some Matt Derry referrals to go to in the absence. Thanks so much. Love the pod, and I hope to see you soon.
All right, there you go. Michelle Choice checking in. Her husband, Josh, is a monster Locked On Lions fan. These are very close friends of mine. Michelle and Josh are amazing. Nancy, come on. Michelle's mom, also an everyday listener. So I appreciate them greatly. Love that Michelle checked in on the old speak pipe. Good question. Number one, as you know, I've got to shill for my boys on this network. All right, whether it's Koo doing Locked On Pistons, B Fish doing Locked On Red Wings, Scotty Bentley Locked On Tigers. Those guys do a great job. So if you want any of the teams, Spartans, Wolverines, Pistons, Red Wings, Tigers, and of course me, you go to Locked On first. As far as other Lions content, this is a very good question. The POD podcast, the Pride of Detroit podcast, those guys do a whale of a job. We've had Jeremy on the show, Jeremy Reisman, Eric Schlitt, Ryan, Al, any of the folks at Pride of Detroit. The POD pod, as they call it, the Pride of Detroit podcast, is a good place to go. The Detroit Lions podcast with Jeff Risden from Lions Wire, very good listen. Jeff does a great job. Dungeon of Doom podcast, excuse me, used to be started up by Kyle Meinke from MLive. Kyle now has moved away, and Ben Raven and Corey Woods do the show, and they do a great job. I love the Welcome to Detroit podcast with our buddies from The Athletic, Nick Baumgardner and Colton Pouncey. That's another one. The Believe in Lions podcast. We just had Trevor Thompson on a couple weeks ago. Trevor and Glover Quinn are doing that show. So those are some other Lions podcasts to listen to. Sports related, like what am I listening to? Like Michelle was asking, like when I'm in the car, I'm usually on the phone because I'm behind and making calls and catching up with people. I do love in the mornings, Sirius XM and NBA radio, the starting lineup with Frank Isola and Brian Scalabrine. I just love those guys. I just think they do such a good show. But SV Pod is a definite listen. Scott Van Pelt, Stanford Steve, ESPN. SV Pod is a must listen. I listen to SI Media with Jimmy Traina a lot because I geek out on media stuff. He has good guests on there. I do my own podcast, as you guys know, the Dairy Brothers Guardians cast. So if any of you are Cleveland Guardians fans, or you just want to hate listen and hear me scream and holler about how bad the baseball team's playing right now, that's a go-to for me because it's my own show. Green Light Podcast with Chris Long. I mentioned that before. He has very good guests on, and it is very football heavy. Green Light with Chris Long. Now, those would be the other sports podcasts that I really do like and listen to. And a lot of times on my drive home, I'm listening to Mike Valenti because I think Mike's the best at what he does on the ticket, and Mike's a dear friend. So yeah, that's kind of my listening stuff. So Michelle asked a very good question, but support those other pods. Why not? They've come on my show. I've gone on theirs. I know Trevor and Glover have asked for me. I got to give Trevor some dates on when I can go on Believe in Lions, but I will do that. The SI Detroit Sports Podcast with John Macaroon is another one that I would suggest you listen to as well. All right, that'll do it for us on a Tuesday edition of Locked On Lions, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Great to be back. We are back again tomorrow.